بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه أما بعد. Sunnah Nikah UK members, respected brothers and sisters, I've been requested by Molana Anas, Hafidahullah, to say a few words to you. My name's Shamas Adduha. If you don't know, I run an online platform called My Lifestyle. And myself and Molana Anas go way back, basically. So a brief few words, inshallah. Firstly, we're nearing the last 10 days of Ramadan. It's the 19th day today. And this is the time to reflect on how the days have gone and what's left. And if days that we look back on, the 19 days, when we look back on them, if they don't seem satisfactory, then we need to take solace and comfort from the fact that the Prophet ﷺ told us that actions are judged by their end. And therefore we can have a mediocre beginning and then have a sprint finish, have a strong finish, and inshallah be blessed and have our Ramadan accepted. Acceptance is what's important, inshallah. So regardless of how it's been, I would say don't dwell on that too much, get past it. Let's look ahead and have a fantastic remaining 10 or 11 days of Ramadan. And a few quick practical things. So the Prophet ﷺ, of course, he raised his effort level. شَدَّ مِئْزَرَهُ وَإِقَضَى أَهْلَهُ. He buckled up, as I would like to translate it. He buckled up, woke up his family, and then increased his worship in the last 10 days of Ramadan. He did i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan. In fact, after him, even his wives used to do i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan. And generally there was a push for this sprint finish, and I think we should aspire to that. So a lot of the masajid are open to i'tikaf for the men, some of them aren't. There's limitations. We can do i'tikaf at home if we want to. We can do i'tikaf at home. It just means seclusion for worship, you know. Get yourself in, you know, just seclude yourself in your room. Cut back, minimize unnecessary contact. Do spend time with your children and so on, but minimize the contact, maximize worship, and generally be secluded. If people want to see you, try to kind of tell them your excuse is I'm in i'tikaf at home, right? And then maximize your time in ibadah. What do we mean by that? We often say spend time in ibadah. I'd like to just share some practical tips in that regard. So firstly, if your day is going to begin with suhoor and then fajr in the masjid. If you're in i'tikaf at home, of course you should go to the masjid, no problem, right? This is a nafil i'tikaf. Now, what I would first of all say is that we should have a routine of tilawah of the Quran. And if we want to maximize and have that sprint finish, if you do i'tikaf, fine. But even if you don't do i'tikaf, I think it's possible for those who can recite the Quran to do a khatam of the Quran in the last 10 days, right? I think we should aim to do that. No, it doesn't matter if you're like halfway through the Quran now. Go from half, finish the half, come back and end at half. That's a khatam. You don't have to start again from Baqarah and go to Nas. So that's one way to keep ourselves busy with the recitation of the Quran. You need to do 3 juz a day, which is, it's actually not that much. 3 juz a day is even for slow readers is a maximum of 3 hours. I say that because, you know, I would advise that it should take you 45 minutes to an hour to do a juz if you recite well. And only huffaz, people who are hafiz of the Quran, should be able to recite any faster. Or ulama who recite very, very fluently should be able to recite any faster. But really, we should be aiming to do it in, you know, it should take 40 minutes, 45 minutes, even up to an hour. So there's no rush. We're trying to do ibadah, try to focus on quality. 3 hours of recitation in the last 10 days of Ramadan isn't all that much. And if we can't do that, then we do less. Another thing to mix up into our routine is remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A basic routine for that is that you pick up something like Hisnul Muslim, and there's a collection of morning du'as and evening du'as. Recite them after Fajr, the evening ones recite them after Asr. So that's number one. Number two, say third kalima, or subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu akbar, 100 times morning and evening, after Fajr, after Asr. Istighfar 100 times morning, evening, after Fajr, after Asr. Salawat on the Prophet ﷺ, Durood Sharif 100 times morning, evening. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi 100 times morning, evening. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does that, nobody will exceed him on the Day of Judgment except for somebody who has actually done more. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir 100 times morning, evening. Again, the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned immense reward for that. Make sure that the morning and evening du'as include things like Sayyidul Istighfar. The Prophet ﷺ, said that if somebody reads that in the morning, dies, they'll go to Jannah. It's as simple as that, straightforward, right? And that will be included if you pick up something like Hisnul Muslim. It'll be included on my mawalidlifestyle.com platform. There's several courses, but there's a couple of free ones that I've designed to try to help people get into worship. One of them is we just launched it and we're still developing it. It's called Daily Du'as and Adhkar. So a collection of morning and evening du'as is available there as well. It's free, so no problems, inshallah. And another thing I'd like to add is that we should try to vary our recitation of the Quran in Salah. So normally people read the last 10 surahs, the last 20 surahs, bits and bobs they know. But there should be a concerted effort to try to increase what we recite in Salah, inshallah ta'ala, and vary our recitation so that there's a greater mixture of places that we recite from in the Quran, so that our connection with the Quran is broader and more varied. To facilitate that, you can check out a course called How to Memorizing More Quran for Salah, also on the Mawalid Lifestyle platform, also free. And there's about 36 different places of the Quran that I've compiled to help for people to select and memorize and recite in Salah. And there's some audio aids as well. So there's recordings that you can listen to help you memorize. That's an excellent thing to do for the month of Ramadan as a form of worship, memorizing the Quran, but also something that then helps you the rest of the year, because you maintain it by reading these bits in your salah throughout the year. And I would also like to recommend that we try to read some Quran in translation. So you do your tilawah, you memorize something, you read Quran in translation, and perhaps maybe why not do a khatam of the Quran? If you can dedicate yourself to ibadah in the last 10 days, then do a khatam of the Quran in translation, not in place of recitations. You do the recitation as well, but you do a khatam of the Quran in translation. An excellent book for that, if you have it on your bookshelf, then you should use, is Quran Made Easy by Mufti Afzal Hussain Ilyas, which has some commentary in parentheses, which I found really helpful. If not, then an easy read is Professor Abdul Halim's translation of the Quran, which is easily available via the Android Quran app or its equivalent on iPhone, so you don't actually have to have the published book. If you still have time and you still want more to do, I still haven't got to tahajjud and so on, so Taraweeh, tahajjud every night is a must, and knowing more Quran is going to help you in your tahajjud, of course. So maybe you can memorize every day 8 new parts from the Quran and recite 1 in each rak'ah of tahajjud, and do an extra 8 rak'ahs of tahajjud. And then with your tahajjud and your Taraweeh, engage in lots of dua, make dua for yourself, your families, me, inshallah, the ummah, your teachers, your relatives, and so on, for protection, for afiyah, that Allah saves us from this COVID calamity. So that's the other thing. And I was going to say that if you still have time left, then take read something. I know that seems to be such a hard thing to do nowadays for people, but reading is essentially what sets us apart. Reading is what develops us intellectually. Reading is what develops us spiritually. A book is a teacher sometimes, when a teacher isn't available. But read a book like something from Hadith or a seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, something that is spiritually uplifting, inshallah ta'ala, at this time. That's if you still have time left, right? Of course, you could always recite more Quran, do more dhikr, and so on and so forth. And that is a worshipper's day, that's how a worshipper spends his day or her day. So try to do that in the last 10 days, and try to take some of that out beyond Ramadan as well. And try to do all of that with feeling. Don't just count numbers. Don't just do rituals. Don't just say words, but try to do all of that with feeling, inshallah ta'ala. After all, you are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds. So those are just a few words, inshallah, about ibadah in the remainder of Ramadan to get us a strong finish, so that Allah may accept our Ramadan. A quick note. Since this is Sunnah Nikah UK members, I just want to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you to fulfill half your deen, and find a spouse who complements you in your deen and in your character, inshallah ta'ala. If there was a piece of advice that I could give, I would say focus on preparing yourself to be the best husband or wife you can be. So be introspective, focus on developing yourself. And when you look for a spouse, look for compatible values. The more you look at the physical aspects, the less you will be blinded from important things like values, character, akhlaq, that kind of thing. So if you want, often marriages fail because people like the way somebody looks, they like the way they talk. They've had a few good conversations and they think, yeah, we get along. But actually that stuff wears off really, really quickly. You need to be on the same wavelength about the most important things in life. So you've got to ask yourself, what are the most important things to you? What are your values? And how can you find out what the other person's values are? And if there's values-based compatibility, there's a stronger chance that you will get through things, because you're on the same path. You're traversing the same path. You're on the same journey. You're on the same page. If that's not the case, then you can be brilliant. He or she can be brilliant. Your potential spouse can be brilliant. You can be extremely good looking. They can be extremely good looking. And everybody might say, oh, he's got himself. He's my daughter-in-law is the most beautiful, and my son-in-law is the most beautiful, and everybody's happy with that stuff, but the marriage breaks up in no time. It's because there's no compatibility of values. So think about that, inshallah ta'ala. That's just a quick bit of advice, but be introspective, focus on yourself, make yourself the best you can, make yourself worthy of a good spouse. People often they're too busy looking at the other person. What do I want in my spouse? What do I want in a potential wife? What do I want in a potential husband? Well, what are you to be worthy of that? Is an important question to also ask. So be introspective, be self-critical, and make yourself better. And do that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will reward you with a worthy spouse, inshallah ta'ala. That's all I have to say. Make dua for me, inshallah. Check out my work on noidlifestyle.com. I think Molana will also share the link. And Allah bless you all. May you have a great Ramadan. May Allah accept it from all of us. May Allah accept these few moments of us together, inshallah ta'ala. And may Allah keep you all safe and give you afiyah from COVID and all of the illnesses, inshallah. And may we all see many more Ramadans to come. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.